Part 69. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 683. Zhao Yun knew how convincing Lu Feng was as an emperor and was willing to surrender to him and go through fire and water for him. As the emperor, Lu Feng would never doubt them. He could rest assured that he would hand over the general power to them and let them gallop and kill on the battlefield. It is a great pleasure for a grown man to fight on the battlefield for his country and his family. After returning home in triumph, he will be treated as he deserves, and his talents will not be wasted. Where can one find a good king like Lu Feng? Good birds choose trees to roost in, and anyone with a brain will choose a wise king. It turns out that you have taken a liking to our general. How about it? General, do you want to go with them? Shi Fan looked at Ran Min nervously. Ran Min was brave and good at fighting. He was famous throughout the northern and southern dynasties and would win every battle. Many people from other dynasties would come with many gifts and ask Ran Min to invest in their efforts. Camp recruitment has happened more than once or twice. Many people in Hozhou are used to it. Ran Min is so popular. Uncle Nine Emperors joked, I will never leave the state of Zhao. People below, listen, I am loyal to Grandpa Huang and will never betray the state of Zhao. Ran Min frowned. His plans were all implemented in Zhao state. He never looked down upon other people's recruitment. He wanted to break out of the world with his own hands, so how could he surrender to the feet of others? There is no need to refuse so simply. Why don't you come down and have a chat with us, or I can send Zhao Guo to the palace and have a chat with you. Lu Feng got off the carriage and looked at the high-spirited Ran Min on the city wall. He is worthy of being a famous general who became famous at a young age. He is majestic and has the demeanor of a general. Although Lu Feng cherishes his talent in his heart, he is not polite at all when he speaks. Ridiculous, do you think our Zhao country has no one? Don't think that because other people are afraid of you, I will be afraid of you. Our Zhao country will never surrender as long as I am around. Although other dynasties in the southern dynasties surrendered, which meant their destruction, only later Zhao refused to surrender. Lu Feng did not send troops to attack, but just wanted to attack Ran Min first. Among the famous heroes of all eras, he was not planned to let it go. Zhao Yun, if you were asked to attack Zhao state, how long would it take? Lu Feng pointed at the city wall, but he was actually pointing at the state of Zhao. Of course Zhao Yun understood what he meant. Your Majesty, please stay here later and I will have the royal meal prepared for you. Before the sun goes down, there will be no one in the entire Zhao kingdom going to war. Zhao Yun knelt down on one knee, with the silver spear in his hand eager to try. He only needed Lu Feng's order, and he could lead the red blood dragon rider through the entire Zhao kingdom. Ignorant boy is really arrogant. How could I, Zhao, have tens of thousands of elite soldiers to deal with thousands of you? Shi Fan laughed wildly. In his opinion, the conversation between Lu Feng and Zhao Yun was just nonsense. Although the emperors of later Zhao were very tyrannical, it was precisely because of their tyrannical personalities that their military strength was very good, and the entire dynasty admired them. Force. Of course Shi Fan didn't believe the people in front of him. He just brought a few thousand soldiers to break through the Zhao kingdom with tens of thousands of people. Such a statement was tantamount to fantasy. Only Ran Min frowned and looked at this well-disciplined army was very worried. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 684. Shi Jian was standing behind Ran Min, and of course he saw that Ran Min had a bad look on his face. My dear nephew, your eyes are not right. Are you still afraid of those thousands of people? Shi Jian is a little scared. He relies entirely on Ran Min. If Ran Min shows this expression, what should he do? Uncle Emperor, don't look at that army that hasn't said a word until now. It's precisely because of their strict discipline and extraordinary strength that they can do this. Even the people under my command cannot be as quiet as chickens. He inevitably shook his head helplessly. As a man who has been marching and fighting for many years, he can certainly see the differences between armies. There is a saying that a dog that bites does not bark. The profound meaning of this sentence can also be applied to people. So what should we do? Run now. Shi Jian is indeed the most timid person. He is already thinking about his retreat even before the war begins. Zhao Yun, fight well, Ran Min must keep him. Lu Fen nodded and asked Zhao Yun to lead his men to fight, and he waited leisurely. I believe that with Zhao Yun's strength, it is not difficult to penetrate the entire Zhao kingdom. By the way, he also gave him some instructions. Ran Min must be spared his life. In fact, Ran Min is also a proud and arrogant person. He was able to endure it for so many years before taking over the entire Zhao kingdom, which shows how deep his thoughts are. Such a person must think that he is a god. If you want to conquer him, you can't do it without beating him into submission first. Only by putting your strength in front of him will he know how to bow his head. Shoot the arrow. While he was speaking, Ran Min had already arranged for the archer to release arrows on the city wall. With an order, the arrows rained down. Raise your shield. Facing this situation, Zhao Yun did not panic and ordered the Red Blood Dragon riders to raise their shields to form a square formation to protect themselves and Lu Feng. But Zhao Yun himself did not need a shield at all, as he had a silver spear. It was like an arm to him. Like an invincible Hot Wheel, the silver spear blocked all the arrows. The arrows rained down, but they couldn't even touch the corners of Zhao Yun's clothes. Hiss, so strong. Ran Min was surprised by Zhao Yun's skill. He didn't expect there to be such a powerful opponent in this world. But the surprise was just surprise. The next second his eyes were full of light, full of pursuit of the strong. Do not stop. Release all the bows and arrows in your hands. Rolling logs, ready for rockfall. As the defender of the city, Ran Min did not have to give up his advantage on the city wall and adopted a medium and long-distance attack method. There were endless methods such as shooting arrows and falling rocks. In this way, he was using this method to attack Zhao Yun and the Red Blood Dragon rider. Attrition, trying to prevent the Red Blood Dragon riders from advancing even half a step, but unfortunately he underestimated the powerful strength of this army. Even if there are so many things falling from the sky, for the Red Blood Dragon riders, they cannot shake them in the slightest. They are tall. He held up his shield, resisted all attacks, and came to the door of the city wall. The tall vermilion city wall was very heavy. Under normal circumstances, it would take a full 14 soldiers to push it open, but for the Crimson Blood Dragon rider, it only took enough for 4 people to step forward. Squeak a euro. An old and decaying sound came, and metal and wood groaned as they collided. Hold it all. Absolutely no retreat. The sound of collective resistance came from the other end of the city wall, which was their last resistance. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 685. These soldiers of Zhao State were fighting desperately against the city gate. They knew in their hearts that once the city gate was opened, the last line of defense would collapse. Ran Min, who was standing on the city wall, also saw the scene below, and immediately arranged for his personal guards to go and help resist. No, General. We are guarding you behind the general to protect his safety. If we all leave, who will protect you? But the guards are unwilling to go down. It's not that they don't want to protect Zhao Guo, but they think that their responsibility in this life is to protect Ran Min. If they go down to see the city gate, then who will guard Ran Min? You need to know these personal guards. but it was because they knew Ran Min's bravery that they were willing to be impressed by his charm. They signed up to join the army because of Ran Min, who wanted to be his subordinate. The funny thing is that more than 80% of the people in the entire Zhao country, all the soldiers, joined the army because of Ran Mi, and this country has to say that the royal family does not have any dignity. Once the city gate is breached, you and I can only apologize with death. They must not let them open this gate. As long as you can guard the gate, you are guarding me. Do you understand? Of course Ran Min knew how loyal the people around him were, and he was very moved in his heart, but no matter how moved he was, he still had to do what he should do. If the city gate was broken, everything would be over, and his future ambitions would not be able to realize. There is no way to kill everyone in the Shi family. Only by protecting Zhao state can he realize his ambition and establish a new country in the future. Break. The guards had no choice. Since Ran Min had already said so, they could only go down to help immediately. But as soon as they went down the stairs of the city wall, there was an angry sound from under the city gate, and then the city gate was broken. They could only panic and retreat from the stairs again. The general is already too late. The city gate has been forced. We are now protecting you, and quickly get away from their overwhelming momentum. It cannot be stopped for a while. It is better to escape for your life first. The first thought that came to the minds of the guards was to protect the people they admired in their hearts and escape from this battlefield that was doomed to fail. You must know that the army brought by Lu Feng broke through the city gate in one go. It is when the morale of the army is at its highest. Such an army is invincible, and no one is willing to get into trouble. Although each of the guards is powerful, their number is limited, less than 100 people in total, and these 100 people are considered strength. No matter how strong they are not enough to stand up to the Red Blood Dragon Riders. You must know that the Red Blood Dragon Riders are one of the most elite troops under Lu Feng. What's more, this army is still led by Zhao Yun himself, not to mention the entire army. In the world, even if we search all the planes and worlds, there are still few people who can fight against Zhao Yun. Ridiculous, how could I escape? If I can't protect Zhao state, what should I use to establish it in the future? Everyone, listen to me, the city is in ruins and people are dying. Even if they die on the battlefield, they are absolutely not allowed to retreat. After Ran Minlu, all his savings, all his connections, and all his troops were all in Zhao. If he gave up everything in Zhao now, how could he establish a new country in the future? 3 Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 686. The guards around Ran Min couldn't understand the general they admired. What happened today? The order to retreat was never given, and they were very determined to stay on the battlefield. As the saying goes, if you keep the green hills, you won't have to worry about running out of firewood. But now that the green hills are all gone, what will happen even if there is firewood? If you really care about me, I will also give you a chance. Those who are afraid can leave now. Those who are not afraid, follow me and fight to the death with the enemy. Ran Min turned around and glanced at the few princes of the Shi family behind him. Every one of them was scared to death. The more timid ones were already begging the people around them to take them away. None of these people had any talents available. Shi Jian didn't run away, but he didn't run away because Ran Min was his only partner. No matter where he went, no one would protect him without Ran Min's orders. You just stay on top of the city wall and don't run around. Today's battle will determine the life and death of the entire Zhao kingdom. There's no point in running if I lose. Ran Min pressed Shi Jian and told him to stay here honestly. He also told him that as long as he loses, you will have no way to survive anyway. You might as well wait here for the result. Well, I get it. Shi Jian's face turned pale and he couldn't utter a word. Ran Min ignored him and took the 100 strongest men around him to go down from the city wall to face the Red Blood Dragon Rider. But he never expected that, when the team he led rushed out, the Crimson Blood Dragon riders killed all of their personal guards in just one encounter. The personal guards around them were all talented people, but these people were in the Crimson Blood Dragon riders. In front of him, it was as if a baby was fighting with an adult, unable to fight back. He was easily beheaded by the other party, and the body was missing. Blood burst out, and there was the smell of smoke and blood everywhere. Ran Min's face, the spray was all the blood of his brothers. He couldn't even cut through the armor of the Red Blood Dragon rider, and all the brothers around him died. He howled angrily, wanting to avenge his brothers, but the Red Blood Dragon rider general, he was surrounded by people, and it was like a trapped beast still fighting. No matter how he tried, it was useless. Zhao Yun looked at him from the outside and did not order the Red Blood Dragon to ride down the killer. This person was personally ordered by His Majesty the Emperor to keep him. He would definitely won't hurt this person. I said you should stop making unnecessary struggles and just surrender honestly. Isn't a Euro trademark it better? You have to know that our Majesty is a wise king who is rarely seen in 1,000 years. He will definitely lead you and lead our Han people to become the largest ethnic group in the world. After Zhao Yun got closer, he advised him not to waste any more energy. With his current strength, it would be difficult to fight anyone among the Red Blood Dragon riders, let alone Zhao Yun. Perhaps when he surrenders to Lu Feng in the future, after entering the job transfer hall, his strength may increase, but now he is just a little stronger than ordinary people. You are talking nonsense. All my brothers were killed by you. I will never let you go. I will take charge of the Han people in the future and no one else is needed. Under such chaotic circumstances, Ran Min's mind was still clear, and he still had not forgotten his ambition to lead the Han people to overthrow the Northern Dynasty. Unfortunately, he still did not recognize his own strength. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 687. Zhao Yun held his forehead. He didn't expect that this person had such a fierce temper. He had already reached this point and refused to kneel down. You don't have to be so resolute. After you talk to our emperor, you will know how naive your thoughts are. The savior of the Han people will only be our emperor. Facing Ran Min, Zhao Yun used all his language skills, but when it came to persuading him to surrender, he really couldn't use words. Zhao Yun couldn't help but start to think, maybe the task of persuading him at the beginning had nothing to do with him, and he just wanted to. It would be nice to capture Ran Min alive. After thinking about it, he rolled up his sleeves and prepared to go up and fight. Forget it, hand over his weapons and tie him up, you, and you, watch him here and wait for His Majesty to inquire, while the others are waiting and will be killed. Destroy this little Zhao country. In the end, Zhao Yun did not fight Ran Min alone. This Ran Min was not his opponent. If a fight really broke out, he might not be able to stop it. Moreover, he did not forget that he led his troops to destroy the entire Zhao country. Yes, there is no need to waste time here. Instruct 2 of the Red Blood Dragon riders to arrest Ran Min and wait for Lu Feng to ask. The others will follow him to rush into the Zhao Kingdom city and destroy the entire Zhao Kingdom. 1 hour later, he rushed into the Zhao Kingdom's palace. Zhao Yun felt bored looking at the chaotic palace, so he let the Red Blood Dragon cavalry charge wildly. He himself went to the Zhao Kingdom palace where Emperor Shihu lived, and then he saw, the dying old man lying on the bed is Shihu. This lunatic is now half dead, and the imperial doctor is just killing him with some people. It is no wonder that the princes outside are really so powerful, but Shihu has no reaction. Remember, the book once said that Shihu died suddenly after being seriously ill. Now thinking about Ran Min's character, maybe he was waiting for Shihu to weaken and kill him with one blow, so he died so hastily. Zhao Yunyi as a result, Shihu cut off his ear and took the ear back to see Lu Feng. Your Majesty, Shihu has been killed by me. Shi Huayuro trademark's other sons were also charged to pieces by the Red Blood Dragon riders on the battlefield, and it was impossible to tell who was who. Zhao Yun led some of the Red Blood Dragon riders back to resume their lives, while most of the Red Blood Dragon riders conducted a rough inspection after the war on the battlefield. The Red Blood Dragon riders rode fast horses to conduct a hunting-like inspection around the area. Whenever a suspicious person is found, he can be eliminated with one arrow, leaving no opportunity for the remnants to take advantage of. Very good, Ranmin has not spoken. You take him back with me. The state of Zhao has now been destroyed, and the city has become a ruin. It is better to leave the people to fend for themselves and let them recover their homes, while Lu Feng leads the army back first. There is a very good palace in the southern Tang dynasty. It was much more comfortable to stay in the Tang palace. As for the current situation of Zhao state, only people like Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui who deal with internal affairs know how to deal with the problems here. Anyway, as long as it is about national affairs, Lu Feng didn't intend to interfere too much. Leave professional matters to professionals, there is no need to cause trouble for yourself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 688. Lu Feng led people back to the Tang Palace. He arranged for Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui to go out to handle state affairs, while he personally intervened in Ranmin's affairs. Ranmin, I know what you are thinking. You want to revitalize the Han dynasty, let the Han people stand at the top of the world, and make everyone no longer dare to bully the Han people. This is your ambition, your lifelong pursuit. Lu Feng knew Ranmin quite well, and he touched Ranmin's heart with just one sentence. How do you know what I'm thinking? I've never told anyone about this. Ranmin was very surprised. He didn't expect that Lu Feng actually knew what he was thinking, but he had never told anyone his true thoughts. He always thought that this was his own business and had nothing to do with other people. It doesn't a Euro trademark T matter if a person doesn't a Euro trademark T know, he just needs to accomplish what he wants to do according to what he wants to do. You didn't tell others because you thought you could solve this problem yourself. But if you want to solve it, it will take decades, and in the end you won't be able to make the whole country full of Han people. Looking back at Ranmin's life in history, he tried his best to help the Han people stand at the top. Unfortunately, the Han people during the northern and southern dynasties could not be saved at all. With his strength, it was just a dream. Ranmin spent his entire life and did not can the Han people be saved? Huh, why do you say that? Ranmin was very unconvinced. He was very clear about how much he weighed. He believed that he could achieve his ambition. Deeds speak louder than words. Did you defeat my army today? The monarchs of other dynasties should know better than me whether I surrender to you or not. How could a native of the southern dynasties not know about the private affairs between various dynasties and the collective surrender of emperors of the dynasties? He must know that Zhao did not surrender entirely because she who was unconscious. Ranmin refused to surrender. The Euro trademark SY he has been supporting Zhao Guo. Just because others are willing to surrender does not mean that I am willing to surrender as well. I will definitely lead the Han people and ride on the heads of a bunch of you so that you will never dare to invade our central plains again. Ranmin yelled angrily. Lu Feng actually knew him so well. There was no need for him to continue to pretend. It is true that you cannot achieve that outcome, but as long as you submit to me, you can lead the Han people to the top. And within a month after you submit to me, this world will be dominated by the Han people. Are you willing to believe me? Lu Feng confidently made a promise. Maybe it won't even take a month, and the world will be dominated by the Han people. I have been in this chaotic era since I was born, growing up in a world where people cannibalize people. I have seen it, and I definitely don't a Euro trademark T want to see such a miserable situation again. How dare you boast about Haikal? Is it because of your invincible army? Ranmin was struggling in his heart. He had personally fought against the Crimson Blood Dragon Riders. He knew very well that the Crimson Blood Dragon Riders were definitely not an ordinary team. They must be carefully trained as a master of kings. Such a master of kings is him. He dreamed of getting what he wanted, so when he lost, he did not feel very unwilling. Instead, he thought that it was his honor to lose to such a king's army. In the future, he could also accumulate experience, train such an army, and fight go to Northern Dynasty. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 689. Ranmin's inner struggle was all reflected on his face, and his eyes were sparkling and wandering around, showing that he was thinking deeply. Lu Feng saw his little expressions at a glance and took a sip of tea with satisfaction. As long as Ranmin's heart was not so determined, he would have a chance to conquer this stubborn general. This army is just the tip of the iceberg to me. What I want is to lead all the Han people to stand on the top of the world. In addition to your world, there are other worlds where the Han people exist. I want the Han people in every world to be. Are you confident that you can accomplish this ambition of becoming a master? Or maybe you don't a Euro trademark T dare to challenge even the other dynasties that can a Euro trademark T defeated. Lu Feng told Ranmin about his ambition because he believed that Ranmin could resonate with this ambition. After all, Lu Feng's statement was actually an enlarged version of Ranmin's ambition. For Ranmin, who was focused on the Han nationality, Min Lai, these words accidentally touched his heart. Will the Han people in other worlds also become dominant? Will this world also allow Han people to become the most advanced people? Your ambition is a bit too big, but I like it very much, for the Han people. I am willing to serve you. Ranmin surrendered to Lu Feng in a blink of an eye. Lu Feng did not promise to give him the so-called good treatment, nor did he promise that he would be richly rewarded by high-ranking officials. He just promised him that he would lead all the Han people to the top of the world. But this is enough to make Ranmin return to his heart, which shows his innocent heart. Very good, Ranmin, you have a pure heart. I allow you to serve as a deputy general next to Zhao Yun and study hard with him. I hope you can make progress in the future. Ranmin's subjugation was much simpler than imagined. A person with righteousness in his heart would choose a wise monarch who has the same righteousness as him. Lu Feng's words made Ranmin feel that he had found a similar kind, and also allowed him to see the hope of the Han people. Since the Southern dynasty had been completely destroyed, he might as well surrender and witness Lu Feng's words with his own eyes. In fact, Lu Feng's strength will definitely not let Ranmin miss him. It didn't take a month, just 3 days, the Red Blood Dragon Riders and tens of thousands of elite soldiers had completely covered the entire Northern Dynasty. The famous generals Gao Zhan and Gao Changgong of the Northern Qi Dynasty went to battle one after another, but with their strength, they were now nothing more than cannon fodder in front of tens of thousands of elite soldiers and red-blooded dragon riders. Lu Feng, the famous general of the Northern Qi Dynasty, Gao Changgong, had originally thought of taking him under his command. After all, he was more capable than his uncle Gao Zhan, who only knew how to snatch the throne of emperor. But whenever he thought of Gao Changgong's indecisive character, Lu Feng decided that he still didn't need this person. Just because he was born in the Gao family, he tolerated his family in every possible way, and even committed suicide by drinking poisonous wine just because of the emperor's words. Such a person is the most indecisive. There is no way to train a person like this to become the highest ranking person under his command. It is better to give up from the beginning. The other dynasties didn't even have a famous general. Lu Feng didn't talk nonsense with these people at all. He let his elite soldiers and red-blooded dragon riders crush them all the way, defeated all the coalition forces of all dynasties, and officially unified the northern and southern dynasties. 3 Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 690. The Han people in the southern dynasties never thought that they would one day unify the whole country, and it was not other races that unified the country, but the Han people themselves. On the day the war ended, all the Han people were cheering and all the people were cheering. They finally ended the war and could live in peace and stability. Seeing that the situation had become clear, Lu Feng ordered Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui to implement state affairs as quickly as possible, so that all people in the world would actively do good. Your Majesty, I have something to ask for at the end, and I would like your permission. In the palace of the southern Tang dynasty, Lu Feng was discussing with Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui how to decide on national policy next. Ran Min was outside the door, requesting to meet. Ran Min, what do you want to see me for? Come in and talk. Through getting along with each other these days, Ran Min, who has surrendered to Lu Feng, knows that he is the emperor of the Shenlong Empire and is more willing to surrender. After seeing that no one in the world is Lu Feng's opponent, he no longer has any doubts in his heart. Any flinching, complete surrender. This is that in the face of strength, all conspiracies and tricks are all paper tigers. And the crushing of strength can also win back some arrogant people. After Lu Feng let Ran Min come in, he seeing Ran Min walking in with two peerless beauties, one on the left and one on the right. These two beauties had their hands tied and their feet shackled. Just one look at their postures made me feel very charming. Such looks are simply unbearable for ordinary people. There are countless beauties around Lu Feng, and he feels that the two people in front of him are extremely charming. The beauty between their eyebrows is as charming as silk, as if they can steal your soul with just one glance. Look away. Your Majesty, the person on my left is named Zhang Liwa. She was born in a military strategist and is familiar with the art of war. She is a very brave and resourceful woman. The person on my right is named Feng Xiaolian. She has no ability, but both of them are beauties are notoriously troublesome. I didn't know how to deal with them for a while and asked your Majesty to decide. When Ran Min went out to fight, he met these two beauties. Even he would have compassion in his heart. These two beauties are Han Chinese anyway. Why not bring them back and present them to the emperor, who will decide how to deal with them? How could the two of them end up in the northern dynasties? Aren't they the favored concubines of the southern emperor? Lu Feng raised his eyebrows and felt a little surprised. In his memory, Zhang Liwa and Feng Xiaolian were both the favored concubines of the emperors of the southern dynasties, so they were framed by many people as beauties, causing this person to be personally killed by the person he loved. Granted death. But why did these two people end up in the northern dynasties now? Your Majesty, please have mercy on my two sisters. After the country was destroyed at home, they could only wander around as entertainers. Now they were brought back by General Ran Min by chance. We have not committed any crimes. Please investigate clearly. Zhang Liwa now regrets very much why she showed her ability to command operations in the first place. As a result, so many people now know his reputation and want to take her as their own and make suggestions for themselves. Lu Feng smiled, who would have thought that he was begging for mercy. The person next to her who could only cry was actually one of the two most famous beauties in the northern dynasties. The illusion about her beautiful body had been etched in his mind for many years. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Three Kingdoms, I Have a Job Transfer Palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 691. Feng Xiaolian is the heroine with a beautiful body. The story is that Gao Wei, the empress of the northern Qi dynasty, had a beloved concubine. The beloved concubine had a very good figure, fair skin, beautiful appearance, and long legs. With such a peerless beauty in his arms, the first thing Gao Wei thought about was not to appreciate it alone, but to order his favorite concubine to strip naked and lie on the table in the court, so that everyone could see her. Look at this beautiful figure. ETA Euro trademark S, also called appreciation. I don't a Euro trademark T know if the beautiful woman in front of me who can only cry is the beautiful woman with a beautiful body. What can you two weak women do? It's just that the world looks at you differently. There is no reason for me to put all the blame on you two women. Get up and stop kneeling. Lu Feng waved his hand and allowed the two of them to stand up. The so-called beauty disaster is just a crime created by the poor and rotten scholars in order to put all the blame on women. But any wise monarch will absolutely the whole world will not be held back by beauty, but a man who can let the world be held back by beautiful women must not be a wise monarch. Your Majesty is wise, and our sisters are just being used as a shield by them to cover up their sorrow of not being able to protect their country. I didn't a Euro trademark T expect that your Majesty is so wise and powerful, and can see through their hypocrisy at a glance. My sisters and I are extremely grateful to your Majesty. Zhang Liwa is indeed a smart woman. She speaks politely and flatters her in every way. Not to mention, she is actually in a good mood. There is nothing wrong with you two. Now I will give you a chance. If you want to leave me, let someone give you some money to live and establish a career outside. If you don't want to leave, then enter the palace. Lu Feng is a very big-minded man. He will not embarrass two little women. He gives these two little women a chance to choose. Zhang Liwa lowered her head, blushing. There is such an upright man as your Majesty in the palace, so what reason do I have to leave? Please also ask your Majesty not to dislike my little daughter. Zhang Liwa lowered her head shyly and looked at Lu Feng, her eyes becoming more and more intoxicated. In her eyes, Lu Feng is the most upright and sensible man in the world, and she is willing to be such a man's woman. Your Majesty, you are wise, mighty, and handsome. I am afraid that my daughter is not worthy of your Majesty. Please don't a Euro trademark T dislike me and let me and my sister serve your Majesty together and share your worries. Feng Xiaolian finally stopped whining. With tears in her eyes and a secret look, she humbly asked Lu Feng. Both sisters are willing to become Lu Feng's woman. In their eyes, it's an honor. Who wouldn't like a man who stands on the top of power? Lu Feng nodded. Since this is their own choice, it is reasonable for him to include them in the harem. Let the two of them and Ran Min wait for the time being. He left to discuss state affairs with Fang Xianling and Du Ruhui before taking them back from the transfer hall. Ran Min was not strong enough, so he was asked not to go out to train on his own for the time being. Zhang Liwa was familiar with military science, so he named her concubine Hua, which meant that she being able to bring about gorgeous battles. Feng Xiaolian is a model player that I can still pity. Three Kingdoms, I have a job transfer palace. Author, Strong Wine Burns the Heart. Chapter 692. The other people in the harem were very friendly to the two newly joined sisters, and quickly helped them get familiar with the environment here, so that they would not have a sense of belonging here. Lu Feng is also very satisfied with the harmony in the harem. This allows him to concentrate on fighting on the front line. What a blessing it is to have so many peerless beauties waiting for him at home. Ding, please host go to Jin Yang's martial arts world and complete the mission. First, save Qiao Feng and prevent him from jumping off the cliff to his death. Second, support the weak Song dynasty. Less than a week after returning, the system announced again a new mission. This mission is a little special. The world we are going to is a world with internal strength, so the people around him must have strong strength to fight alone. Fortunately, there are many generals around Lu Feng who have personal competitive strength. There are not a few people there. However, considering that there are too many people who know martial arts in the martial arts world, he does not plan to bring those who have no strength there, and he does not plan to bring ordinary soldiers there. For the martial arts world, as long as you if his strength is the best in the world, Then everyone will listen to you and listen to your orders. As long as he brings strong enough people, it will be enough for people in the martial arts world to be impressed by this strength. Just like the protagonist Jiao in Tianlong Ba Buletin Feng, he is also too strong, so everyone wants to recruit him. He actually does not have the ability to command battles, but his strength is there, and no one dares to resist him easily. The last one Jiao Feng lost was because the knot in his heart has not been opened, and the second reason is that because of his own character, it is impossible to be a rebel. What Lu Feng is worried about now is the time when he was teleported. If the time when he was teleported was Jiao at that time when Feng had killed Azu, it was so confusing that it was unknown whether Jiao Feng could survive. If he could teleport to Jiao Feng and still seek revenge, when Azu was still alive, he might still be able to start from the beginning, just correct the mistake. Zhao Yun, Dian Wei, you two don't have to go back to the military camp, call Lu Buletin and me and go again. Yu Feng touched something. Think about it, there are many strong people around you, but there is no need to bring too many people. Why not bring Mad Dog and Lu Buletin among the people, and then bring Zhao Yun, who is 7 in and 7 out? The number of people is enough. Your Majesty, please forgive me for your courage. If you take the 3 of us with you, it proves that there are many dangers in the place we are going to next. It is better to bring a few more brothers, otherwise the number will be too small and I will be worried about your Majesty's safety. Zhao Yun is careful. He noticed that the people he brought this time were all generals with very strong individual combat capabilities, which proved that the world he was going to next was more dangerous. He did not agree with the emperor taking risks alone. You don't have to worry about it. As long as I, Dian Wei, are here, your Majesty will be safe and sound. Even if I die, your Majesty will definitely be fine. Mad Dog is worthy of being a mad dog. For him, no one will be taken seriously by him, and he only has the belief to protect Lu Feng. In order to protect Lu Feng, he can even take his own life. He confidently beat his chest and promised that no matter which world he went to next, he was confident that he would become the strongest person in that world and was not afraid of anyone at all.